Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Nam Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
We
Hare
start
Hare.
introductions.
Hare Rama, Nam Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare
Vancha
Krishna,
kalpatarubhyascha
Krishna
kripa
Krishna, Hare
sindhueva cha
Rama,
patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Ananta Vaishnavind ki jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Good morning, dear devotees. This is Shivani from Ashram, Virginia. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. Please forgive me for stopping a beautiful chanting. Let us move to our next part of the session, which is Sri Caitanya Bhagavata, Adi Khanda chapter 10, verses 120 to 126. May I ask who have joined this morning?
हरे कृष्ण शिवानी माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीति दासी from Shal. हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna Priti Mata Ji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you Mata Ji for joining and giving a beautiful association each and every day. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. So glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirti Dasandri Dasi.
Hare Krishna Kirti Sundar Mati Ji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you for joining every day and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shivani Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from Atlanta. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Priti Lasni Mata Ji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you Mata Ji for joining and giving a wonderful, beautiful association every day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna Yashamati Mata Ji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you Mata Ji for joining every day and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is Haridana from Fairfax, Virginia. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev and everybody that's in the class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shri Radha Mata Ji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you Mata Ji for joining and giving a beautiful association today. Please join more often. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vanita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Go ahead.
Go ahead, better.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. This is Padmasakhi Devidasi from Tampa, Florida.
Hare Krishna, Padmasakhi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Ajit Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving a wonderful association. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody else who would like to announce their name?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. This is Sarmishta from Odisha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru and Gauranga. This is Raj from Canada.
Hare Krishna Raj Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much for giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I welcome you all once again to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. I would like to share a quote by Srila Prabhupada ji. Failure is a pillar of success. Then try. Again you shall try. Vrindavan, August 17, 1977. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Prabhuji will be enlightening us on Adi Khanda chapter 10, verses 120 to 126. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time and your wonderful association. We're looking forward to hearing from you eagerly. Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Perfect. Okay. So first and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me to speak amongst the audience
Hare
assembly
Krishna,
of
Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji's screen is frozen.
Just a second. Can you hear me now? Absolutely no?
Yes, Prabhu. It's very clear.
Yeah, very clear, right? So, okay, perfect. So I'm connected through my phone and also my computer. So that's why you see two of my names, but I hope you can hear my audio clearly and see me as well.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much once again for inviting me to speak on a very glorious topic today, Lakshmi, Mother Divine. We are talking about the marriage between Lakshmi Priya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we would churn the nectar a little bit more today. So before we start, I would like to thank the audience as well as specifically Her Grace Kriti Vilasini Mataji for requesting me to speak on this subject matter. Thank you for providing an opportunity to purify myself to speak about such divine subject matters which I am not qualified, but by the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis and the blessings of the spiritual master and the previous acharyas, I would attempt to speak something about Mother Lakshmi and would try to inspire us to further augment our devotional service. With that, we will first speak about the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanathimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantika. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namaom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mutam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkapatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dheeratarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwar Hari Om. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Mahadeve cha vidmahe Vishnupatni cha dhimahi tanno Lakshmi prachodayat. Hare Krishna, my dear devotees, welcome once again to this beautiful chapter of discussing about Caitanya Bhagavata Adi Khanda, chapter number 10, where we are witnessing the divine marriage between Lakshmi Priya and Nimai, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the pastimes are continuing. So today we will speak from the verses 120 to 126. So let's look at the verses. 120. Prabhu Parshve Lakshmi Haila Sachi Griha Haila Parama Jyotir Dhama. With Lakshmi at the side of the Lord, the house of Sachi appeared like Vaikuntha, the most effulgent abode. So this is a very beautiful verse where Lakshmi at the side of the Lord, the house of Sachi. So Sachi Mata has brought the newly wedded wife, her daughter-in-law, and she has brought Lakshmi Priya into the house of Sachi Mata. And here it is mentioned that the house appears like Vaikuntha, and it's the most effulgent abode. So very beautifully. So I'll stop, share sometimes, and then speak because I like to see the audience as well. So this is a very beautiful verse, 120, which speaks that Mother Lakshmi, where she is present, along with Narayan, who is none other than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna, who is none other than Jagannath. The whole place appears to be like Vaikuntha. I remember when I was staying in South India, and when you visit the South Indian houses, traditional Brahmin South Indian houses, they generally learn Carnatic music. When they learn Carnatic music, they have a section where they have to speak a lot of syllables, or they have to speak a lot of sargas, or the sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. They have to repeat that in different ragas, and they call it as Gita. So they practice this always so that they get their ragas right, they get their tuning right, they get their singing right. Of course, I'm not trained as a singer, but when you go and hear from the various schools of classical music, Carnatic music, you get to hear from the houses where the grandfathers and the grandmothers, they teach their children the basic tenets of singing. Because they knew that the Kali Yuga, Nam Sankirtan is very important. So one of the basic tenets when they teach about these ragas is also to mention about the spiritual abode. How is the spiritual abode? So in one of the verses, it is mentioned, and I can show you how they learn this beautiful way of learning. I hope you can see my screen. And I remembered that how in the olden times and even now, if somebody wants to learn Carnatic music, they used to describe the spiritual abode. So if you see here, on the top, they mention about the various swaras that one is supposed to say, and then they teach you what is the Sanskrit shloka, how it follows the meter. And that's how we all learn. In fact, if somebody would have taught us like this, then we would have learned Prabhupada shlokas even much more in a very easier way. For example, they are describing here, with the help of these swaras, the spiritual abode. If I attempt to sing, please pardon my singing. I'm not a Carnatic trained singer, but please pardon me. But it is so beautiful just to listen to what the Vaikuntha looks like. What is the scene as we try to understand? Because here in this verse, it is mentioned that as Lakshmi is entering Sachimata's house, it looks like a spiritual abode. So let's try to sing. Pama pada sada sa, ri sa da da sa da pa, da da pa 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 ma ri ma ma pa pa. Now when somebody just sings like this, some people will be wondering, why is he just singing random symbols? Or why is this random swaras being sung? But actually there is a verse behind it. Pama pada sa da sa, udadi nivasa. Udadi nivasa. Udadi means the great ocean. Who resides in the ocean? My dear devotees, Udadi nivasa. Nivasa means the address. The address in the ocean. Who resides in the ocean?
Mahavishnu.
Okay. Mahavishnu, absolutely right. Padmanabha, Mahavishnu. But here, specifically, it is mentioned he resides. But how is he going to reside? Risa da da sa da pa, uraga shayana. Uraga in Sanskrit means the serpent bed. So one who is residing in the ocean and is residing on the serpent bed. Da da pa 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 ma ri ma ma pa pa. Unnatonnata mahima. And how is he as a personality? Unnatonnata. Unnata means the superlative way of describing the qualities of the Lord. It's not great. It's the superlative version of great. It's far, far beyond. It's transcendental. Unnato are his glories, mahima. Anor Aniyan Mahato Mahiyan, says Ishopanishad. He's there in the smallest of the small, he is there in the biggest of the big. So Unnatonnata Mahima. Who is this personality? This personality is the one who is residing in the ocean and who is reclining on the serpent bed. Da da pa 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 mari ma ma ga ri sa. Yadukulottama yajnarakshaka. Yadukulottama. who is the king of the Yadu dynasty. And my dear devotees, he is going to appear day after tomorrow. Who is the king? Who is the Tilaka of Yadava dynasty?
Krishna.
Krishna, absolutely right. Yadukulottama Yajnarakshaka. He's the Yajna Rakshaka. He's the one who protected the sacrifice. Sa sa da 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 pa 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 magarisa Agnya Shikshaka Rama Nama. That same Lord who is residing, he is the one who came and protected the beautiful Yajna of Vishwamitra. And he is the one who followed the beautiful instructions of his father, Agnya Shikshaka, Agnya Palaka, Pitru Vakya Paripalaka, that is Lord Ramchandra. So all these is the beautiful way where in the olden times people used to sing and also introduce to characters, introduce to the ways they get to know what is the abode. So till now, we have seen the protagonist who is lying down, but there is one more person who is residing right at the lotus feet of Padmanabha, of Vishnu, and that is none other than Lakshmi, who is the epitome of Padasevana. She is constantly rendering service unto the lotus feet of Vishnu, of Padmanabha, of Ranganatha. And that completes the picture of Vaikuntha. So Sachi Mata, when Lakshmi Priya has come inside the house, she is feeling that after this marriage, this whole house has turned like Vaikuntha. So it's very important that we connect to the roots, and India has wonderful roots. Every city, every town, every place has wonderful roots where we can learn beautiful music, Nam Sankirtan, and through that we can get to know about Krishna. So further, after the whole place looks like Vaikuntha, and how is Vaikuntha? It's very effulgent. Indra Nila Mani Sannidhapa Magachandra Surya Prabhama Prameyava. It is said Indra Nila Mani. Indra Nil is the beautiful ruby-like diamond. The Lord is resplendent with beauty, and he is shining in the Vaikuntha abode. He is adorned with beautiful ornaments. It's all effulgent. And not only the Lord, the Parshads, the Vishnu Dutas, the service-oriented devotees, Garuda, Chakra, Saranga, the bow, all these personalities, they all look alike and they are very beautiful to look at. And all this combined together with the presence of the Divine Mother, Mother Lakshmi, it creates a very effulgent abode. And that's how Sachimata felt, that her whole house is as effulgent, or it's the most effulgent abode, when she saw Lakshmi Priya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu together on his side, on the side of the Lord. So this is a very auspicious way to just imagine, is to just do smaran, is to meditate on this wonderful, simple little detail that Lord and his consort both are side by side together. And just by meditating on this form, our hearts become peaceful. We feel sheltered. We feel that she is the Divine Mother who is going to protect us. So Mother Lakshmi, or she is Mahalakshmi herself, she comes and takes part in various pastimes, and she comes down to be a part of the pastimes whenever the Lord comes down. So in Ramayana, she came as, whom did she come as?
Sita?
Mother Sita. In Krishna Leela, she came as?
Rukmini.
Absolutely, Rukmini. And here in Chaitanya Leela, we see she is as Lakshmi Priya, Mother Lakshmi. She is known as Jagan Mata. Padmasanastite Devi Param. Padmasanastite Devi Parabrahma Swarupini. Padmasanastite Devi, one who is sitting in the Padmasana, one who is sitting on the lotus. Parabrahma Swarupini. Parameshri Jagan Mata Mahalakshmi Namastu. She is known as the Mother Divine. She is the mother of all living entities. So she is called as Jagat Mata. And she was born from, where was she born from? Where was she born?
Ocean.
Ocean.
Churning of ocean.
Yeah, when the ocean was churned, she was born. She came out of the ocean. So who is her brother? Oh, no, this is a difficult question. So if ocean is the parent,
Chandra.
Chandra, absolutely right. Chanda Mama, Chandra. Chandra went and became Chandrasekhara on top of the crescent of Lord Shiva, whereas Mother Lakshmi, she chose Narayan. And she became the lawfully wedded wife of Lord Narayan, the eternal consort. So once when I was giving a class, after the class, one Grihastha gentleman came and he mentioned that there is a lot of problem in his life. And I asked, what is the problem? He said, I've been forced to stay in my wife's house. So I said, okay. He said, no, generally the men don't stay in the wife's house. I'm being told to stay in the wife's house. What does Shastras have to speak about it? I said, my dear Prabhu, you know where Lord Vishnu is staying? He said, in the ocean. The ocean is the father of whom? Mother Lakshmi. So where is the Lord staying? The Lord is staying as Jamai, is staying in his in-laws' house. So sometimes we have to see it in the right frame. Of course, the context was different, but this is Vaikuntha. This is very beautiful to see. We have the Garuda in Vaikuntha. We have the Sarpa, who is Anantashesh. Both are there, but they serve very equally the Lord. So it's a very peaceful, wonderful place. So we're going to speak about a little bit about Mother Lakshmi, and we're going to speak about the other verses as well. So let's just quickly go through the other verses. Text 121. Niravadi dekhe sachi kigare bahire paramadbhuta jyoti lakhite na pare. Beautiful. Such a wonderful effulgence constantly emanated from the house that Mother Sachi could not even see properly. Commentary. By the arrival of Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi, who is the direct personification of one of the Supreme Lord's internal potency known as Sri Shakti, the house of Sri Sachi actually became the effulgent Vaikuntha abode of the Supreme Lord. So the effulgence of Lakshmi Priya Devi, Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi, was so much that Mother Sachi was feeling twinkling and glazing her eyes, but she was not able to see the effulgence of Lakshmi Priya Devi. Now we might be thinking this is a poetic way of enriching the scene, but it is not so. We see many such instances in the Shastras where this is mentioned very wonderfully. One such instance is when in the Ramayana we can see the effulgence of Mother Sita being spoken by none other than Janaka. Now what does Janak Maharaj say? When the marriage was supposed to take place, you all know there was a condition that before Lord Ramchandra marries Mother Sita, what was to be done? There was a quest to be completed. What was the quest?
Shivadanush.
Shivadanush, what about it?
The one hand is when the hand of Sita has to, raise and then string the Shivadanush and take it.
Absolutely. One who has to string the great Dhanusha. And that was the condition. So what happened was that when all Lord Ramchandra and Lakshmana, they were walking down the streets of Mithila. And they were spellbound completely. And they were looking at the various pillars of the palaces. They were looking at the street performers. They were looking at, imagine they're going near Sitamarhi, near Bihar, near Nepal. So it's a new location for Rama and Lakshmana. And Vishwamitra is walking ahead, and they both are with princely attire. And they're carrying their bows. And they have fresh from the fight, they have come and they have vanquished Subahu and Maricha, and they have come, protected the Yajna, and they are walking inside Mithila. They are seeing the fluttering flags of Mithila, of King Siradwaja or Janaka, and they're looking at various different people, and they're all smiling, and they are wondering, who are these personalities who are looking like the sun and the moon, and why are they following this great ascetic sage? At that point of time, Lord Ramchandra is appreciating the beautiful Mithila kingdom, and he looks up, and on the balcony, he sees a young Sita. And so one of the poet in Tamil, he mentions this in a very beautiful way. And he mentions this in a way where Lord Ramchandra is mentioning that I see this girl who is standing on the top. Yeah. Annanum Nokinan, Avalum Nokinal, somebody saying on the chat. This is said by Kamban, where Kamban, in the Kamba Ramayana, he mentions that Lord Ramchandra looked into the eyes of Mother Sita, and Mother Sita looked eyes, and it was as if a thick stream of nectar was flowing between both of them. You can just take a scoop, you can taste it, it will be very sweet. So it said that he also looked and she also looked. So previously, the marriages were conducted like this. There was no courtship period and all. If both of them met eye to eye, all of things were spoken eye to eye. And I say this repeatedly in many places. The people of Ayodhya and people of Janaka, they were expert in speaking eye to eye. In fact, one can speak a lot of communication without even speaking words. That is known as a perfect couple. So if some two couples are sitting in front of the audience, and the lecture is going on and on, you can see the Mataji will tell to the Prabhu with the eyes. That means time is up, you eat your medicine. And if the Prabhu is intelligent to understand the conversation which is coming through the eyes, he will put his hands in the pocket and he will take out the medicine and put it. And then he will look back and say, it's done. And she'll be like, good. All this communication will be happening. It's very difficult to give lectures because if you also understand eye languages of others, then it becomes very difficult. But then there are some couples who are not blessed so much with eye-to-eye contact. So even if the Mataji will say, let's go from the lecture, the Prabhu will walk up in between the class, go up to the Mataji and then ask, what? What is to be done? That is not good communication. And she'll be like, oh my God, you are embarrassing me right in front of the class. You should understand sign language. But Rama and Sita were not like that. They were a perfect couple. And that's what somebody is writing in the chat. Annanam Nokinan, Avalum Nokinal. That means he also saw and she also saw and everything was understood. But here, when Lord Ramchandra looked at her, Mother Sita, who was having a very radiant face, very effulgent face, and very beautiful, just like how Sachimata is seeing right now. Lord Ramchandra also looked at Mother Sita. Chandra Bimba Mukha. Chandra Bimba Mukha. The Chandra, the beautiful moon-like effulgence was shining on the face of Mother Sita. And then Lord Ramchandra paused and then he remembered and he felt as if, who is this girl? Yaro, Ivar Yaro. Who is this girl? Who is this personality? It seems like I know her from the past. It seems like she has served me in the past, and she is now standing here, and in the very near future, she's going to serve me again. So who is she? Who is she? Like that, he's thinking and walking down the streets. And when he entered the arena, and there was this beautiful Shiv Dhanush which was kept, and Vishwamitra said, Vatsa? And when he said, Vatsa, Lakshmana got up. Then Vishwamitra thought, now whole Ramayana will go topsy-turvy. If Lakshmana goes, he's Anand Shesh, he picks up the Dhanush, he breaks it up into two. Marriage will be his. Ramayana will change. And then he said, Vatsa Rama Dhanur Pashya. Vatsa Rama. When he said Rama, then Lakshmana sat down. Ramchandra got up. Dhanur Pashya. And when he went, he saw, he picked it up, and everybody was stunned because nobody could move the bow. But here, he just picked it up. And when he picked it up, people only saw him picking up, because before that, his actions were so swift. He kept one toe at the bottom leg of the bow, and then he strung it so beautifully. And before he could strung it on the top, the Shiv Dhanush broke it into many pieces. There was a large sound. At that time, Mother Sita, she was so elated that the quest has been broken, and it is the same personality whom she saw before, and she had given out her heart. Both of them have given out the heart, and she is coming with the garland. And at that time, the effulgence of Mother Sita is being spoken by none other than Janak Maharaj, who is known as Siradhwaja. And it's a very beautiful shloka that he says. He says in Valmiki Ramayana, there's a very famous shloka, Iyam Sita mama suta saha dharmachari tava praticha enam badram te panim grihinishva paninaha. This is a very beautiful shloka. You wouldn't believe this shloka has more than 108 meanings. One shloka spoken by Janak Maharaj. It says, Iyam Sita mama suta saha dharmachari tava pratichena badram te panim grihinishva paninaha. In very simple meaning is, this is my daughter Sita. Please be alert. Ensure that you hold her hands, accept her as your duly wedded wife, O Lord Ramchandra, and be glorious in the coming years. And she would be a very chaste and obedient wife to you. This is the simplest of the meaning here when Janak Maharaj says. But here we are going to talk about the effulgence of Mother Lakshmi, because that is what the verse is. So we have to see the first two words. Iyam Sita Mama Suta. Suta means daughter. Sita means Sita. So now my question is to the audience who are here. Let us assume for some minutes that we are Janak Maharaj. Let us role play ourselves as Janak Maharaj. And you are bringing Sita, who is holding a garland, about to arrive at the scene and garland Lord Ramchandra. And as Janak Maharaj, we have to introduce our daughter Sita to Lord Ramchandra. So can someone try an introduction? Now this is a golden chance. You are playing the role of Janak Maharaj, and you have to introduce Mother Sita to Lord Ramachandra.
Here is my resplendent daughter, Sita. Please.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Here is, can you say that once more, Mataji? Very nice.
Here is my most resplendent daughter, Sita. Please accept her hand in marriage.
Okay, very nice. Mataji, now hold on. What is that the first thing that you said? Here is
my daughter.
My daughter. But let us look at the verse. Let us look at the verse. What Janaka is saying. Janaka doesn't say so. Janaka says, Iyam Sita Mama Suta. This Sita, my daughter. what kind of grammatical usage is this? Iyam Sita, here is Sita, who is my daughter? Are you understanding? This is Valmiki is giving a very beautiful reason why it is so. Iyam Sita Mama Sutta, he's saying is that because she is Jagan Mata. She is the mother of all the living entities. And Janak Maharaj is a Pandita, he knows. And he says, that mother of all living entities, I have got this fortune that I have become the father of the mother who is the mother of all living entities. So he is elated. In fact, by saying this, by saying topsy-turvy, is not out of joy. It is after full realization. So he's saying, Iyam Sita Mama Sutta. She's saying, this girl who is known as Sita. Another meaning is, Sita means, in Sanskrit, the furrow, the plow, which goes through the Mother Earth, and the farmer uses this plow or the furrow to put the seeds, and then the plants, then the crop grows up. So he, Janak Maharaj, is saying that she is Sita. She is the bringer of all happiness. She brings happiness, just like the furrow brings happiness to the farmer, because it splits the land, it creates a line, and then the seeds go in, and then it covers it up with the back part of the plow. And then when the water is put, the plants come out and there is prosperity for the farmer. Similarly, she is going to tread through your life. Iyam Sita, this Sita, who is my daughter, Mama Sutta, Saha Dharmachari Tava. She will follow the path of Dharma along with you. And she's Dharmachari. Just like you are the protector of Dharma, she will be always protecting you through her chastity. So beautifully he is mentioning all this. But again, our quotient is my resplendent daughter, just like Mataji said. So here Valmiki says, why Iyam Sita Mama Sutta is mentioned. Iyam Sita, Mother Lakshmi, when Lord Ramchandra broke the bow, immediately Janak Maharaj came with Mother Sita and said this beautiful shloka, Iyam Sita Mama Sutta. But at that time, many CCTV cameras are going around the scene, and some are zooming Lord Ramchandra's face. Now, Lord Ramchandra does not know who is Mother Sita. Of course, he knows, but in the past time, he's playing the part of a person who just broke the bow. I don't know who is Sita, who is going to give me the garland. I do not know. So he's looking at all the ladies. Who is going to be the one who is going to come and garland him? At that time, Janak Maharaj is just touching him on the forehand and saying, you're seeing her here and there everywhere. I know once you looked at her from the balcony, and after that, in everyone you are seeing her. But let me tell you, the real personality is here. Iyam Sita, she's right here. Mama Sutta, my daughter, please see her. This is another meaning. That Lord Ramchandra is looking at, where is Sita, where is Sita, where is Sita? This pastime is going on. Here is she. The another meaning, it is said that she is so resplendent, she is so beautiful, just like how Sachimata is seeing that in the house of Sachimata's house, in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's house. She's so resplendent that her beauty is being reflected on the pearls and the diamonds and the rubies and the crystals on the pillars of Janak Maharaj's Vaideha kingdom. And it is in the Mithila kingdom, it is being reflected, her beauty is reflected. And suddenly Lord Ramchandra can see millions of Mother Sita in each of those reflections. And he is appreciating the beauty of Mother Sita. At that time, Janak Maharaj touches him and says, don't look at those reflections, look at the real personality, Mother Sita, who is just sitting next to you. That resplendence is what Mother Lakshmi has. Iyam Sita Mama Sutta. We have not gone forwards into it. Still, there are many meanings. And now he's saying that you have waited for so long. You have broken the quest. Now please accept her Saha dharmachari tava pratichenam bhadram te. He says, be careful, bhadram te. This comes in Srimad Bhagavatam also. To Shaunak Rishi and Sutta Goswami, this is being mentioned in the first canto of Bhagavatam, bhadram te. Please take care. Why? Because he's going to enter the Grihastha life. So this marriage happens. Today we are discussing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lakshmi Priya, but it has happened in Ramayana times as well. And this beautiful marriage of Rama and Sita, this pastime happens. And this beautiful rasa is churned. Of course, in Krishna Leela, she comes as Rukmini. And it is in a very nice way. We see those beautiful pastimes that happen with Mother. So this is how she's resplendent. And Janak Maharaj is mentioning that in this particular shloka. So let's go back to our verses where Sachi Mata is going to find out new things coming her way. 122. Kahana putrera pashe dekhe agni shikha ulatiya chahite na phaya ara dekha. Sometimes Sachi saw flames of fire at the side of her son, but when she looked again, they were gone. So this is very normal. Lakshmi Devi, she does a lot of other activities as well, in terms of she's a repository of virtues. One of the greatest repository of her is she's not only bright and effulgent, spiritually wonderful, because as we read in the commentaries, she is one of the internal potencies known as Sri Sakti. At the same time, she is also the repository of all the herbs. She's an Ayurveda perfect doctor. How is that she's a doctor? In fact, we have to see Valmiki Ramayana again. It's very beautiful. So when Shurpanaka, her nose and ears were cut, she went crying back to Khara and Dushana, her brothers, her commanders, who were stationed at Janasthana. And she went and did a complaint. And my dear devotees, do you know how she complained? She complained. Generally, if we are walking on the street and somebody slaps us, cuts our nose, cuts our ear, and we go to the police station, can somebody do a role play? How will you complain?
I saw two men.
Sorry?
I saw two men and they were so beautiful. They were so handsome.
That is Shurpanaka's complaint. I met two men, so beautiful, so handsome, so wonderful, so nice. Once you look at them, you feel like looking, and Khara and Dushana are listening. Oh, she's glorifying them. But why is she bleeding? And these two personalities so beautiful that even Cupids will fall for them. Even Cupid is nobody in front of them. And by the way, they cut my nose and ears. This is her complaint. So beautiful was Rama and Lakshmana and Mother Sita. And so the entire army came. Entire 24,000 army came to fight Lord Ramchandra. And Lord Ramchandra told Lakshmana, you take her and go on top of the hill inside the cave. I will fight. And Mother Sita had never seen Lord Rama fight before. She was thinking that this might be the last fight. I might not see her husband. There are 24,000 Rakshasas. Somebody is carrying soda bottles. Somebody is carrying blades. Somebody is disfigured. Somebody is having 3 eyes. Somebody is having 4 heads. Somebody is handicapped. All the Bollywood movie villains that you see, everybody is there in that. And they are coming. And Mother Lakshmi was thinking, Lord Ramchandra actually wanted to show, because Lakshmi Devi, she said, Striyam Purusha Vigraha. It seems like you are just a man in a girl's dress. She said that in a very sporting way, and very angry way, because Lord Ramchandra said, you stay back, I'm not taking you to the forest. So she thought he can't fight. Lord Ramchandra wanted to show his heroism, machismo. And he single-handedly, in 72 minutes, he killed 23,999 demons. So you might wonder, where was that one demon whose name was Akampana, says Valmiki. He was left because he saw everybody was dying around him, left, right, and center. So he took one of the Angavastra of one of the dead demon and he wore it around himself as a sari and he made himself as a woman. So Lord Ramchandra vowed that he will never pick up a bow against a woman, though he first killed a woman, Tataka. But he vowed that he had vowed that I will not shoot an arrow against a fleeing enemy, and especially if it is a woman who is showing the back and running away from the battlefield. So he left him. And at that time, Lord Ramchandra showed the reverse of this shloka, Yam Ramaha, Paramatma. That because this 24,000 demons, they all thought there were 24,000 Ramas fighting with them. And his bow was twanging constantly. And such was the fight. Valmiki also mentions Lord Ramchandra had too much of bruises on his body. Blood was coming out of his transcendental body, but it was one magnificent fight. At that time, when the fight was over after 72 minutes, Lakshmi came and she saw the beautiful body of Lord Ramchandra bruised. She just embraced him. And Valmiki writes, that embrace healed the quality in Mother Lakshmi, which is the repository of all the herbs. She became the Ayurvedic doctor to the wounds of Lord Ramchandra. What a wonderful way to say the qualities of Mother Lakshmi. Valmiki is so great. So he mentioned that embrace was not normal. One, she was happy that my father, Siradwaja, Janak Maharaj, has actually chosen the right husband. And she was looking like flames for Ravana. Here she was the cooling herbs for Lord Ramchandra. So there were the fiery side of Mother Lakshmi. At the same time, there is a cooling side of Mother Lakshmi. So this is very nicely mentioned here by Sachimata. She saw the flames of fire at the side of her son. But when she looked again, they were gone. So these are the transcendental things that she is witnessing. Kamala pushpera ganda shane shane para. Kamala pushpera ganda shane shane paya. Parama vismita chimpena sadaya. When she sometimes smelled the fragrance of a lotus flower, she was utterly astonished. Because why? She is Padmasanasthite Devi Parabrahma Swarupini. Padmasanasthite Devi. Her constant companion is the lotus. She is known. So she has a fragrance of lotus. And this lotus flower's fragrance, it surrounded, it engulfed Sachimata's house. And she was utterly astonished. How am I getting this fragrant lotus smell? So it is her seat. Mahalakshmi sits on a lotus flower. And definitely, this fragrance was felt by Sachimata. And then she started thinking, Ai chinte bhujilana karanai hara ekanyaya adishtana ache kamalara. Sachi thought, I can understand the reason for this. This girl is a plenary portion of Lakshmi. So Sachimata understood she is none other than Mother Lakshmi and she's a plenary portion of Lakshmi. So text 125. Ateva jyoti dekhi padma gandha pai purva praya daridrata dukhae bena. That is why, because she is the plenary expansion of Lakshmi Devi, or she is Lakshmi Priya Devi herself, That's why this effulgence is there. That's why the smell and fragrance of the lotus flowers is there. And now we may not face poverty like before. This is very important, my dear devotees. Immediately, Sachi Mata is saying we will not face poverty anymore because she knows the glories of Lakshmi Devi. She knows very well that what happens when Mother Lakshmi bestows her blessings to somebody. Who was the one whom she bestowed her blessings and he got great wealth? Return of investment was unimaginable.
Sudama.
Sorry?
Sudama.
Sudama, absolutely right. Sudama was the one who was blessed unconditionally. So much so that all he carried in his hand was poha. And when he gave that poha, in fact, in my recent visit to Kerala, that I am in Kerala right now. So in my visit to Kerala, and this is the Onam festival time. And in Onam festival time, they bring out the boats and they sing these wonderful songs. I don't know, I feel like singing a lot of traditional folk songs, which I keep hearing when I keep traveling in India. That's the most beautiful thing in India. You get to hear in every part of the state, in some way or the other, you get to hear about Krishna. So this is very, very wonderful. So we see in this beautiful shloka, which is called as the Vanjipata. Vanjipata in Malayalam means the songs of the boat. And you know these boat races that happen in Kerala where there are many people, they sit and they have to row the boat and they're trying to cross across the finish line. And it's a gargantuan task to row. It's a physical effort. So somebody has to keep motivating them. And do you know what they sing? They sing Nam Sankirtan. They sing about the Lord. They sing about Sudama meeting Krishna. And that motivates them. The Tamburan, the king who is sitting on the top of the Dwarkadish, he's sitting, and from the far he saw a Brahmana, a Dvija, walking by. And how is he walking? So they sing it in this way, that how is his appearance? His appearance is torn completely. Dhotis are torn. He's walking slowly, and he has got this important Bhagavatam, first canto, second canto, and the important canto that he's reading. He has got those books by his side, and he has kept it below his armpits, and he's titter-tottering. He doesn't have chappals, and all his dhotis are torn. And then the camera zooms further. And when they sing this part, the boats go faster. Mundil podinya mukhya maya pustaga. Indingude kashkatil irikikunda. Tititara tititay rutay dagadayday to. So they say in that waist of his was dangling a small pot of cloth, a cloth-like pot which was put together. And it was tied together, and it was dangling, and it was spilling some pohas, and he was adjusting it so that every small bit of that he is taking and keeping it together. And he's keeping those wonderful things together, and he's dangling and he's walking. And then when he comes, because that is the poha, and he gives that to Dwarkadish. And the beautiful line says, I don't know why. The poet says, I don't know why. The lotus-like eyes of Mother Lakshmi, they had tears. It's wonderful to see that in tears, in water comes the lotus, but from the lotus is the water coming down. This is so, so great. And in this Endo Tamara Kannan, the one who is having lotus-like eyes, that Sri Krishna, even he had tears in his eyes. So when he took the first poha and he ate Dwarkadish, Rukmini said, enough, enough. This is enough for him. All the apparatus which is old in nature in his house has now become electronic, Dwarkadish. You don't need to give him more. If you give him more, he will forget you. This is the blessings of Mother Lakshmi. Lakshmi ensures that the blessings are first given. So this is called the Kuchela Vritta. It was written by a poet called as Ramapuratu Varya. And they sing this every time during the Onam races. Of course, now people are changing, but then in the traditional times, everybody, when the Onam festival comes, they will learn these songs. They will go and they will sing. And this is how Nam Sankirtan used to be there. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated for this Kali Yuga. And he ensured that everybody goes ahead in this Nam Sankirtan. So here it is mentioned that this blessing by Mother Lakshmi has ensured, and there is a very beautiful pastime where he says that when Sudama walked in, the first thing that Dwarkadish said is, please fan Sudama. And who was fanning Sudama? Rukmini herself was fanning Sudama. And the Acharyas mentioned why. Why did Dwarkadish tell Rukmini to fan Sudama? Because he was sweating. And sweating in Sanskrit is considered as alakshmi. Alakshmi means not auspicious. So we learn very clearly in the Sri Suktam, which is one of the poems glorifying Mother Lakshmi. The 5th verse, we do learn Chandram Prabhasam Yahasham Jwalantim Shriyam Loke Deva Jashtamudaram Tam Padmi Mim Sharanam Prapadde Alakshmi Me Nashyatam Tambrane. We learn that in Sri Suktam. Alakshmi Nashyatam Tambrane. May my poverty go away. Alakshmi is also known as poverty. May Alakshmi, the opposite of Lakshmi, the auspiciousness, the opulence, which is poverty, let it go away. And that is what Sachimata is saying. Now that I see effulgence, now that I see the fragrance, she is part of Lakshmi Devi, now we will not be poor. And this is what is said in Sri Suktam. Alakshmi Nashyatam Tambrane. In fact, it comes thrice in the Sri Suktam, if I remember right. Aditya Varne Taposadi Jato Vanaspati Stava Vrikshota Bilvaha Tasya Palani Tavasya Nudantu Ya Antara Yascha Bhagya Alakshmi. He says, "O bright as the sun, due to your tenacity, the most auspicious Bilva tree was born. Its fruits remove our external and internal poverty. Ya Antara Yascha Bhagya Alakshmi. You remove the outside impurities and the poverties and external and internal poverty." And in the final verse also, it's mentioned, Shutipasa Malam Jeshtama Lakshmim Nashyamaham. I want the destruction of Lakshmi's elder sister, Alakshmi, the presiding of poverty. So if poverty has to be removed, if the sweat has to be removed, you need to have the fanning grace of Mother Rukmini. So Dwarkadish said, now I'm going to give him a lot of stocks, bond of Dwarka. He's going to get rich. So please do the fanning. And once he gets, he got it. And final shloka for the day that we will see today, and that is 126. Hey Lakshmi Vadu Grihe Praveshile Utahite Najani Ashiya Shabamite. Otherwise, where has everything come from since this daughter-in-law Lakshmi entered my house? Sachi Mata is feeling so glad that the beautiful Lakshmi Priya Devi has entered their house, and she's seeing the beautiful pastimes of beautiful qualities of Mother Lakshmi. She's facing the effulgence. She's looking at the beautiful, resplendent face of Mother Lakshmi, and she's getting to see the symptoms of Lakshmi Priya's presence. And she's always there as the eternal consort of Lord Ramchandra. She as Mother Sita. She's also there as the beautiful Rukmini Devi, and she is the one who is gracing us by her presence. She is the Jagannatha. She also is residing in Vrindavan, constantly doing tapasya in the Belavan. If you go to Belavan, there's a beautiful temple of Lakshmi Mata. It has got bale fruits on the outside. Beautiful Lakshmi Devi. She's sitting there and wants association of Krishna in the Vrindavan Rasa. So she's a great devotee. We should follow in her footsteps. We should take her blessings. And there is a specific reason why she's being accepted. Because there is a hidden pact between the Lord and Mother Lakshmi. It's unsaid, it's not written anywhere, but there's a hidden pact. What is that hidden pact? That only when she recommends Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayan will accept. Just like Srimati Radharani, when she says, you know, this boy, Haridas Varyadas, who has not done any good thing, you're rejected. But if Radharani says, please accept him, Krishna accepts it. So that's the quality that Mother Lakshmi does. She has to show her glance. She has to accept. And the Sri Sampradaya follows this logic very ardently. They first offer their obeisances to Mother Lakshmi, and then they approach Sriman Narayan. But we in Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, we understand the glories of Mother Lakshmi. We understand she chose to be part of the Chaitanya Leela as Lakshmi Priya Devi. And in fact, if somebody is reading the book of Gaur Leela, the Ashta Leela of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, you will see what wonderful activities she does along with Sachipriya when she wakes up. She welcomes the Lord. Sometimes she gets late to wake up. We think that the spiritual world is all perfect. Everybody wakes up. She gets late and she gets a taunt from her mother-in-law, Sachimata. She says, you got late today. Go cook. Gauranga Mahaprabhu needs cooking. And she got late. So when I read that, I said, okay. So the taunting of the mother-in-law is quite divine. It happens in there as well. So this happens, but she's perfectly executing her service. So we kindly remember Lakshmi Priya Devi, Mother Lakshmi, the Divine Mother, Iyam Sita, Mama Sutta, Janaka's daughter, Bhishmaka's daughter, Rukmini, and she's coming again and teaching us the service attitude towards Krishna. So we will learn more in the coming days of her glories. This whole chapter is dedicated to her. So there was little time, but I hope we could churn and get inspired by Mother Lakshmi the way she serves. Shri Chaitanya Bhagavad ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Idastat kalitam kinchit vidvam satpurayantu tatidastat saushtubam kinchit. Thank you so much, my dear devotees, for giving me an opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Very, very honored to hear about the glories of Lakshmi Devi from you. It was very much. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your association.
Thank you. Hare.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Haridas, Varya, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for narrating the pastime of Lakshmi Priya and Lord Nimai, the marriage. So wonderfully explained about the Karnataka music, how it was taught, and the importance of the teaching. As people knew in Kali Yuga, Nam Sankirtan is the only way, one way to glorify Lord. Very, very nectarian class. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, if you have any questions or realizations, please go ahead at this time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very, very beautiful class, Prabhu. Before even I asked, I unmuted to ask you only this for the song, but then in the chat also everybody is just asking for this song again. Please sing it again, Prabhu. It was so nice, very cool, so sweet voice.
It's I don't know what No, Mataji, I croak like a toad, but it's in Malayalam, but I think people would love it. If it is, I can try for the pleasure of devotees. If there are any Malayalam speaking audience, please excuse me. I'm not a Malayalam singer, but I just heard it. My father used to sing it in the house. When he was in school, they used to teach such songs. They don't do that anymore. So he used to sing it. I learned it from him. So okay. I can sing. Ai magalum oru michoru kattil neram moyamaliga mulali nudunarulum ഏഴുലണ്ടു ഒലകുവായി ആയത്തമ്പുരാനത്രയും തായത്തന്റെ വയസ്സനെ ദൂരത്ത് കണ്ടു കണ്ടാലത്ര ഏല കഷ്ടം മുഷിഞ്ഞുള്ള ജീർണാവസ്ത്രം കൊണ്ടു താറുതട്ടിൽ നിന്നും തറവയും വിട്ടു മുണ്ടിൽ പോതിഞ്ഞ പോതിയും മുഖ്യമായ പുസ്തകവും രണ്ടും കൂടെ കഷ്ടത്തിൽ ഇരിക്കൊണ്ട് ഭസ്മമായ ഭസ്മവും ധരിച്ച നാമസങ്കീർത്തനം മുദ്രയും മുപ്പുറമായ പുലിക്കുടയും രുദ്രാക്ഷമാലയും എന്തി നാമസങ്കീർത്തനം ചെയ്തു ചിത്രൂപത്തിൽ ഉറച്ച് ചെന്നിട്ട് ചന്തം നിട്ട് സന്തോഷം കൊണ്ടോ തസ്യ ദൈന്യം ചിന്തിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളുണ്ടായ സന്താപം കൊണ്ടോ എന്ത് കൊണ്ടോ ഗൗരി കണ്ണൻ നിറഞ്ഞു വീര്യനായ ചെന്താമര കണ്ണനുണ്ടോ കരഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ളൂ ഓ തിത്താരാ തിത്തൈ തിത്തൈ Shri Shri Dwarkadish ki jai.
Jai, so
Yay.
beautiful.
Hari bol.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful.
Hari Bol.
Can you
All
please
right.
repeat that
Kerala.
last line, Prabhuji?
Yes,
That is so
Prabhuji.
sweet. Chendamara Kannan.
Yeah.
Chendamara
And
Kannan
the,
Undello Karanjitundo. So that's such a
yeah.
beautiful statement. So
That last statement says, Endu kondo Gauri Kannan Naranju Dhiranaya. So he's such a beautiful lotus-eyed Lord, the Dwarkadish. And I do not know why. The poet is saying, I absolutely do not know why. The lotus-eyed Lord, I'm sure he has cried. Otherwise, how come from the lotus comes water? It's the other way around.
Oh my God.
And this is how they hear and they row the boats and they get motivated. And that's spiritual energy. And they're welcoming Bali Maharaj, they're welcoming Vaman Dev, and it's Onam around the corner. So it's
Prabhuji, can you put the link of the song, please? Can you put the link of the song in the chat?
I will try to do so. I'll find and put it on the group so that you can take it. Somebody wants
Please,
to.
thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
I can't find an English fanfic, but then it's very difficult to find a meaning.
Malayalam is okay because anyways I'm Malayali, so I can, that's okay. But at least link if I can get. Thank you,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
sure. Yes, I see some hands up. Sure. Darshan, Hatsaji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much for such a wonderful lecture in class. And Prabhuji, I couldn't understand the song, but I just loved the way you sang. And only except the word Nama Sankirtan, I understand that. So that is very beautiful song. But I want to know the song if it's in English or other language. If that will be helpful for me. I want to learn this. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's very difficult to find it in English fanfics. If I find, I will send it across. Again, I'm not trying to promote other songs over Acharya's songs. It's just that when you travel, any song you hear, and if it is about the same Lord, you can just not stop appreciating it. And that's the only reason. Otherwise, the Swami's songs, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songs, all are wonderful. But we should have that every language is being spoken to glorify the Lord. Every song is being written to glorify. So it's only on that front I thought that I should share. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. I'll try to share it on the group. And I'm glad that you all like it. It's written not by a very big poet in terms of his stature. He's very less known, but he just came in the last 150 years that he wrote this song.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Very nice. You just sang. Even though I agree with the Mataji, I didn't understand anything, but still it was so sweet. It likes to hear my. So it's very good and very nice. I like all the whatever you were singing, all the verses. So nice, beautiful.
All glories to my
Thank
father
you,
who introduced
Prabhuji.
me to the song. Thank you.
Thank you. Eagerly waiting from again.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. This for your class is very, very inspiring, Prabhu, all of us. Yes, it is not Vaishnava song, but still it's touched to heart. We not understand the meaning of that song, but we understand your bhav, Prabhu. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Dhanashri here. As usual, wonderful lecture. You're like that incense stick, which is wafting a lot of fragrance, even through the internet. Just fantastic. I personally am a Sudama Krishna story fan since my childhood. So it was wonderful. And of course, getting to know Lakshmi ji in this Rupa was fantastic. It was just fantastic. Very good lecture. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Anybody has any questions? Critiques, comments? Even those are welcome.
Prabhuji, can you please, with all admin Bhakti Sangha teachers, can you please sing whatever you want to sing for coming Sisi Janmashtami festival? Please forgive us.
Sing. So this has become a kirtan session now.
No, but you're spot on, Prabhuji, with your singing. Okay, you're since I learned music, I know. So you're good. You're good.
Singing, we should just sing. I like the song because we should sing some Bhaktivinoda Thakur songs because it's Janmashtami. I like the song where he mentions that the Supreme Lord is none other than Krishna himself. Tumi sarve sarveshwara Brajendra Kumara. So that song, in fact, if we have time, we can sing. Otherwise, is it okay if we take it in the end? There's somebody who has some questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Krishna.
Prabhuji, we are okay to go, with the song now or later? I can wait, Prabhuji.
No,
it's your choice.
Go ahead with the question, Mataji, by the time I get the song.
Okay. So Prabhuji, my question was regarding the last part where you were talking about how Lakshmi Priya Devi and Mother Sachi has an interaction even in the spiritual world. Like, okay, is that something we would see in the rest of the chapter or later on in the Caitanya Bhagavat itself?
I mean, when I said the spiritual world, I mentioned that in Navadvip, they do this pastime. Yeah. So they do that, not in this one, but there is a specific book where this is being mentioned. I'll put the name of the book. I think it's called Bhagavata Leelamrit, if I'm not wrong. And there in the first chapter is the Prabhata Leela. And the Prabhata Leela is after waking up. It's not Nishanta Leela, it's the Prabhata Leela. So in that, Lakshmi Priya wakes up in her cottage, and where Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he wakes up from his poster bed. There's a beautiful mention of how his bed is and what he does after he wakes up, and how Revati Mata and many others, they do come and they offer incenses. And Lakshmi Priya, she gets late to go to take bath. And then Sachimata says, oh, we are getting late. We have to make so many dishes. Quick, quick. And then she shyly, she can't say back to her mother-in-law. She looks down as a perfect wife. She goes ahead and does her dealings. And in fact, there's a list of verses glorifying how well she cooks for the Lord. So these are mentioned in Gaurang Leela. Yeah, beautiful ones. Again, Bengali, beautiful Bengali. Just beautiful.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Definitely from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we get more deeper insights into Gauranga Mahaprabhu's renounced life. But here we are seeing his Grihastha life, and small glimpses of it. Thank you so much. Very, very beautiful meditative class. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Devdev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, a beautiful class. I just want to know the picture behind you. Who is with Vishnu Bhagwan?
It's Sri Devi and Bhu Devi. So they are the two forms of Mother Lakshmi, Sri Devi and Bhu Devi. And Sri is opulence, Bhu is Mother Earth, who came with from Varaha. So they both are consorts of Lord Vishnu.
Dhanyavad, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, with the same picture you did one Bhagavatam class, right?
Yeah, King of Serpents.
Hari Bol.
Yeah. So there's Anand Shesh also. So we used him. Now Krishna gave an opportunity to speak about the other two.
Jai, Jai, Hari Bol.
Yes. Any other questions?
Prabhuji, can I ask one question, Hare Krishna?
Yes,
my question is, when you talked about the loka, so I just had a confusion, so I just want to clear that. As per my understanding, concept of hunger and food is applicable to this material world, as it is the body who enjoys it, but because we are in Krishna consciousness, we are doing everything because Krishna enjoys it. And the concept of body exists in this loka, like in Vaikuntha or in Swarga or in other loka. Do body exist? If yes, then how different is that body from ours? If not, then why we offer food to God, as we know that food is the concept of this material world? I'm confused how different is
Break
offering.
over.
Yeah, about to break.
Okay.
Lunch break. Okay.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
I'm confused how different is offering clothes, money from offering food, as all are concepts of material world. I just was confused about this.
Yeah. So, okay. So the spiritual body, we have spiritual body in the spiritual world, and the spiritual body looks different. It's effulgent. It doesn't undergo the laws of matter. It's pure spirit. And the food is a conduit, a medium by which love is actually reciprocated. So even in the spiritual world, Krishna will sit together with his cowherd friends, will eat, will bhoga, he will relish the fruits, the transcendental fruits, all these are there. So these are conduits, these are mediums by which we can serve the Lord. So it's like we need these articles for playing out those pastimes. These are the props to the drama. These are the props to the pastimes. And of course, they are relishable too. When we have that apple in the spiritual world, it's not an illusion, it's real. And that's the real taste. What we get here as apples and oranges and fruits and food are just a fraction of taste what we get in the spiritual world. So yes, we have a spiritual body. We nourish ourselves in the spiritual world also. We have Krishna Prasad. We give that apple to Krishna, and we then divide it. When I say we, the gopis, they offer, and we as servants and servants and servants and servants and servants and servants, we get a small piece of it. We get the same pleasure of eating Krishna. So in that way, we nourish ourselves and we keep in connection with Krishna, and everything is revolving around Krishna. So this body, it has material laws, but spiritual body does not have material laws. Does that answer the question?
Yes. So you mean to say that, if yes, then that means in Vaikuntha and in Swarga also, in other loka also, body exists. Then is it different from the body that we have here in this loka.
Yeah.
And that's why we offer food to God. So you mean to say that there is, when we offer food to Krishna, like in the temples, but offering clothes and money, is it also the same?
So I think there are 2-3 parts. One, in this earth, we have this particular type of body which can sustain 60, 70, 80, maximum 100 years, or it gets destroyed before that. When you go to Swarga Loka, it's not spiritual body. It is still the material body, but a different kind of body which can do certain more activities or can withstand for more amount of time. When we are talking about Vaikuntha, it is beyond this material world, so it is having spiritual body, where we cannot take our material bodies and go there. We are pure. We are having spiritual body. So that spiritual body in Vaikuntha, it's not subjected to any of the material laws like perishing, etc. It is always a culture, Nitya and all of that. So then to speak about now the articles. So here in this material world, we need to eat to nourish our body and keep ourselves in good health. Not the primary requirement there, but it's not that because it's not the primary requirement, those articles don't exist in Vaikuntha. Those articles exist as props or mediums to serve the Lord, right?
Okay,
so that's how we see it. So cloth, articles, incense sticks, they are still there, but they are all used to glorify.
Okay, understood. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay. Do we still have time for the song, or I don't want to post it, but do we have time for the song?
Yes, please go ahead, Prabhuji. Please sing.
Tumi sarve sarveshwara Brajendra Kumara Tomara ichaya vishve Srijana samhara Tava icha mato brahma Purena srijana Tava icha mato Vishnu Purena palana Tava icha mate Shiva Purena samhara Tava icha mate maya Sruje karagara Tava icha mate jive Janama marana Samriddhi nipate dukha Sukha samghatana Niche maya bhadda jiva Asha pashe pire Tava icha bina kichu Korite na pare Tumi to rakhakara Palaka para Tomara charana bina Asha nahi amra Nija bala srishta prati Bharasachariya Tomara ichaya achi Nirbhara koriya Bhakati vinodati Dina kinchana Tomara ichaya tara जीवन हमारा तुम्हारा इच्छाया तारा जीवन हमारा श्री
Hari Bol.
ठाकुर की जय.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Koti koti pranam. Jai Jai Nityananda. Jai Jai Gauranga.
Translation: O youthful son of King of Raja, you are the Lord of all lords. According to your will, creation and destruction takes place in the universe. According to your will, Lord Brahma creates, and according to your will, Lord Vishnu maintains. According to your will, Lord Shiva destroys, and according to your will, Maya constructs the prison house of this world. According to your will, the living beings take birth and die, and according to your will, they meet with prosperity and ruin, happiness and sorrow. The tiny soul, bound up by Maya, vainly struggles in the fetters of worldly desire. Without your sanction, he is unable to do anything. You are my only protector and maintainer. Except for your lotus feet, there is no other hope for me. No longer confident on my own strength and endeavor, I have become solely dependent upon your will. Bhakti Vinoda is more poor, and his pride has been leveled. Now, in accordance with your will, he lives and dies. Jai Shri Bhakti Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for giving me an opportunity to sing Krishna. And I just like to make an humble prayer that my parents are not that doing well in a healthy way. So I would request all your prayers so that you can bless them, so that they can be engaged in singing, dancing, this Janmashtami, so that they can do their devotion service nicely. So if you all can chant once, I request for prayers from all of you so that they can be engaged very well in devotion service. Hare Krishna.
Let's all can unmute and chant one time. Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, once again, I would like to thank you for your beautiful, very beautiful nectarian class today and for singing. We're very fortunate to have you and we're looking forward to your association in the near future. Thank you so much. Very, very beautiful class. You set the mood for all of us for Janmashtami. Thank you enough, sir. Thank you
Wish
so
you all
much.
a very happy Janmashtami.
Thank you. Same to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Dear devotees, if there are no more questions or realizations at this time, with permission of His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji and all assembled devotees, I would like to close the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuevascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Ananta Vaishnavendi ki jai.
Thank you,
Namacharya
Prabhuji.
Haridas
Koti
Thakur
koti
ji ki
dandavat
jai.
pranam. Hare
Chaitanya
Krishna.
Bhagavat class ki jai. His Grace Haridas
Hare
Varya
Krishna.
Prabhuji ki jai.
Thank you very much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you so much,
Pranam
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you very much. Koti koti dandavat pranam to all Vaishnavas.
Thank you
Hare
everyone for joining today's class. We'll meet tomorrow. Hari Bol closing the call for today.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.